You're listening to
Hot Sauce Sports with Mo Cohen, Peeze and Terry Tam.
I now know that I'm on with a spy, depending on who's the captain of this ship. And that's probably a bad thing if this podcast is supposed to go viral, isn't it?
Cordero Patterson like grabbing some shanks, gentlemen here, and I quote, "I'm a grown man. I don't need nobody blank in my balls, my face."
In my teenage years, I'd get back from high school, I'd smash 2 pizza pockets. Carmelo Anthony never learned you can't live life just smashing pizza pockets.
Because he lost a double bet, what I did is I cut a jalapeno in half, and I filled it with hot sauce. So he's going to have to slurp this down.
Why you give me a fucking banana, dude?
I'm not eating a banana. I'll rather piss in my mouth than eat this.
Okay, so there we go. Stop stalling. Let's go. Let's go.
Now, here are your hosts, Mo, Terry, and Peeze.
Welcome everyone, you are listening to and perhaps watching Hot Sauce Sports. I'm your host, Peeze Del Reese. I am joined as always by my other host. Some would even say co-host, Terry Tam.
Better host.
How's it going, better host?
It's good. I like the porn music that we have. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to make sure you can't watch the Masters this weekend, I'm scheduling you for play-by-play on Sunday.
Yeah.
So
I'm also playing on Sunday.
Yeah. So it's just a bad day in general.
Yeah.
Bad day for all. It is this weekend. This is my most exciting. Like, I'm getting no work done Thursday and Friday. Do you need me to write any articles for our new website, hotsaucesports.ca?
Well, have you even written anything at all?
I've written a bunch.
Yeah, you've written a few, yeah.
Cool.
I've
So
written
yeah,
4.
if you could, that'd be great.
I'm not going to because it's the Masters.
Can you write something about the Masters?
Sure.
Can you write
write a drunken article while you're watching the Masters.
About Dustin Johnson?
Yeah,
Well, Friday,
just about Dustin Johnson.
Friday we have a staff meeting
We do.
at the bar.
Yes.
We have a staff meeting at the bar.
Everybody's invited.
Yeah.
Noon. Because noon is the best time to drink.
Yeah.
Which staff meeting?
We don't need to do this on air.
Oh, okay.
It is. It's to me. It's. I've said it before. It's the best television event of the year.
What?
Absolutely.
You're
Absolutely.
off crack.
No, just
No.
visually. No,
I'm
but he's
not
right.
actually on crack.
Visually, it's
my body can
beautiful.
take it.
Visually, it's fantastic. The presentation is so relaxing.
Jim Nance's voice gives me an erection.
Oh, I'm not saying it.
But the music.
I'm not saying it's awesome. It's very enjoyable. I love the music, actually. It's so like...
Yeah, and then like
it's
Tom
like
Rinaldi's
very
voice,
Westworld.
like, yeah.
No, I enjoy watching the Masters, but it's not the most entertaining.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Absolutely.
No,
You know what? Did you watch the last Super Bowl where like 20 points were scored?
Did I say anything about the Super Bowl?
Just
though?
saying. So
But did I say the Super
what's
Bowl?
better? What's better is a singular sport event than the Masters.
Exhibition hockey.
That's not a singular event. And there's also trash.
What's better? A singular event. We just experienced March Madness. That was a great game. The finals to the March
You mean
Madness.
March Madness, the tournament in general, or the final
the
game?
final,
The final game?
The finals, yeah.
I
Okay,
mean,
I'll give
I had
that
to
to
watch Virginia win, so bro. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't like
Game
Virginia.
7 Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, but it's not the same type of event. We're talking about a week-long journey
There it is.
through a fantastic, beautiful land, Augusta, Georgia, where young men and old men compete alike. Who can land the ball in the closest hole?
The closest hole.
The Masters.
But they're all aiming for the same hole, so it's not. There isn't multiple
There-
holes.
there are multiple holes. There's actually 18 of them.
It's not. But it's not the. You're not aiming for the closest hole.
It's like the bar we're at the other night where there was one woman and all those old men were aiming for the same hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's golf.
That's golf.
That's probably how golf was created.
Did I ever tell you, someone once asked me for a description of why I thought golf was the greatest sport, most challenging sport.
It's not a sport, though.
It is, absolutely.
No,
The reason why it's the
It's
most
an
challenging,
activity.
the reason why it's the most challenging sport,
it's a very challenging activity.
but the reason why it's the most challenging sport
Activity.
is that it is the equivalent, because
hobby.
you're taking the two most crooked sticks, hitting the smallest ball
And your dick.
across the longest course, longest field of any sport.
Yeah, for sure.
Into the smallest goal.
It's very difficult.
It's like two blindfolded virgins trying to find themselves in an orgy.
Sure. Are you timing that? That's perfect. I love it. It's like our laugh track. So you're wrong. It's not a sport.
I am right. It is a sport.
It's
It is.
not.
Isn't it an Olympic sport? Look that up.
It's not.
Because I don't care about the Olympics.
I
The
already
Olympics
looked-
is not a sport.
I already
So
looked
is
it up. It's
archery.
not.
Archery? Well, I mean, so is sport competition because they've so.
No,
then
what I'm
it's
saying
sport.
is that it's a physical.
Esports. So is esports a sport?
No.
Because it has sports in the name.
Poker
So
was
if I
on
call
ESPN.
if I call golf sports, so but sport doesn't mean physical activity. It's sporting. Something that's sporting means it's competition.
Yeah, like equestrian. You ever watch
Yeah,
equestrian?
equestrian's not a sport.
But
The horse
bunch-
does all the work.
but- bunch of
If
horse
the horse is
fans-
working out, there's like some sort of calories burned.
So there's calories per during golf, but
No,
then you
I
consume
know.
more while you
I'm
drink
not
them.
saying that the golf isn't hard. I play golf. I love golf.
Yeah, you played poorly.
I played very
We all
poorly.
played poorly.
We all played poorly. That's why we're not playing on Sunday.
That's the only reason.
The only reason. But it's not, to me, it's not a sport. It's not a physically demanding.
What is physically demanding is like it takes.
No, John Daly
accuracy-
is able to play.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
but,
no,
but
it
so
does,
like,
it does.
but so what you're implying is that
I'm able to play.
no, you're not at that level
Oh, not at that level.
because to play as a professional golfer,
Okay, cool. Chess.
it's sporting, absolutely.
It's not a sport.
It's a sport, absolutely. It's just a sport. Look it up.
I'm on it.
This is where I defeat Terry.
Cards.
And Danson's grade.
Cards.
Sport.
No, you're just disagreeing with me on purpose to piss me off.
I'm gonna piss on his
Lawn
grave.
bowling,
Hey, it's bowling. Bowling is a sport.
Bowling is more of a sport than golf.
ping
is.
pong.
Oh yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that's a sport.
Chess is a 2-player strategy board game played on a chessboard, a checkered game board with 64 squares.
We know what
arranged.
the fuck.
We know what chess is.
But it didn't say the word sport in the first.
Exactly.
So it's not a
Google
sport.
is chess a sport.
Yeah, I just did, and that's the answer.
Well, then find another answer that supports my hypothesis.
Okay, is peace right? I'll look it up.
Modern
bias.
internet searches.
Yeah, exactly.
Chess is a sport. I am not wrong. Google that.
How am I not wrong.com? That should be a site.
1-800
So our site's
Peeze
up.
is right.
Our site's up and running.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a staff of writers.
Yep.
That happened quickly. Anyone who's watching or listening and has been to the site, you've seen Christian Galvez Johnson writing a ton of articles for us for hockey. And we've had some contributions by Will Power. We added a new writer, Brett Botkin, will be joining us shortly on the site as well. So we got some depth in there too. It's pretty exciting.
And we
If you want to go ahead and write for us, our inbox is open, so feel free to send us a message, and you can join the staff.
At the moment, it's volunteer work.
yes.
But what's good is if you have impending jail time,
Community service.
you can use this as community service because
As-
you are helping us, the sporting community.
As a matter of fact,
the community of sportsmen that includes chess players and golfers. And now, the news.
if you want to write about jail, you can do it.
Is building jails a sport? Because that's physically demanding.
No, because there's no competition.
So, check and mate.
No, physically demanding
Magic Johnson,
competition.
one of the most competitive athletes
Yeah.
outside of golfers in the history of sports. That includes chess. He's gone. He's gone, Zo.
Salute.
He did say before the season if he couldn't get it to work with LeBron James, he was going to quit. He's a man of his word.
Season's not over.
No, well, there's a game left. Which
What?
also the
But
timing.
they
The
can't
timing was
qualify.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
by the way. I mean, the fact that he chose to do that the day that Wade and Nowitzki have their last game, it's like he made the story all about himself, and it was just completely out of left field.
I still cared more about Wade than the basketball executive.
I don't care about
not the point.
Magic. I really don't give a fuck.
Of course not, but that's
Yeah.
the point is that he chose this opportunity of all of them to make the headlines about himself, and it was just a really weak.
Because he doesn't
lame
have
thing
AIDS
to do.
anymore, so he has to find something else.
He didn't have AIDS. It was
HIV positive.
HIV positive.
No,
Turns
know
out there
your-
is a cure, by
know
the
your
way. It's
diseases.
having a ton of money.
well, you get the AIDS cocktail.
The thing with
I don't give a shit about
With Magic Johnson.
I really don't care about him.
So then don't say anything. Let us talk about it.
teams keep making this mistake. We saw it with the Knicks and Phil Jackson. We saw it with
It's pretty much
With
the same
Magic
thing as
Johnson.
with Phil. With
and
Phil
so
Jackson.
I remember when the story broke that he was going to be hired as the head of the Lakers. Dan Lebatard of ESPN said, "Well, but what are his credentials that'll make him a successful GM?"
Damn
and he
the
got
bastard.
lit up for
Yeah.
being racist.
Yeah.
And I was like, "But that's just a question.
Yeah.
It's not a statement saying I don't think you could do it. It's not a statement saying, oh, I don't think you could do it because he's black, because that would be racist." He said, he's a basketball player. That doesn't make you a good GM.
You know they have the expression, people that can't play coach. I guess the other way around, the people that can play cannot
Often,
coach.
guys who can play also cannot coach.
And
because
he did.
Michael Jordan was a terrible coach. Michael
was Wayne
Jordan was a
Gretzky.
terrible executive as well.
look,
So was Wayne Gretzky.
look, Magic Johnson coached and gave up. They ended the season on a 10-game losing streak, and he quit. And then when he was a broadcaster, same thing. It wasn't going well. He quit. when he had his own talk show. It wasn't working well. He wasn't putting in the hours. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I feel like when I look at how people are portraying the situation, talking about it, they're making it seem like he's a big quitter and that what else could you have to do with your life? But the fact is, yeah, that's true. The fact is that he is so busy. I mean, this guy's he's a multi-billionaire. He has so many different organizations.
He's got so many businesses.
It's just that this to be the basketball the
guy cured AIDS, man.
But I mean, it's also like you got to be head of scouting. You got to be traveling all over the world to make relationships with people in like Lithuania. Like if you're not willing to do that, it's the wrong job for you.
But the thing is, when you're in LA, you don't have to do those things because you assume that people are going to come to you. And
but
he
not the
thought
case
that
anymore.
his name and bringing in LeBron James is going to get people to come. He wasn't able to get those guys to come. And LeBron James probably said, "Listen, I don't know who's going to come next year." And he said, "I don't want to stay and wait." And then it's a fucking failure next year. Then I get fired. Yeah, I'm just gonna quit.
So, but the thing is, that's not true of LA anymore. Because, first of all, you need to want to live in LA, and that's not everyone's case. Secondly, you used to do that for exposure. Go to play in LA, New York. Who's LA, New York attracting right now?
Nobody.
Who have they attracted?
I mean,
other than
New
LeBron
York,
James, who we just know is there for Space Jam 2.
No, New York is attracting talent next year for sure.
KD, baby. Don't say for sure because
KD
James
and
Dolan's
Kyrie.
still there.
I said it. KD
I
and
love
Kyrie
him. My
are
boy.
both going.
Yeah,
My boy
both
James
going.
Dolan.
What's his track record?
Championships.
Overpaying for Melo?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Then giving him a no-trade contract.
And then he's gonna overpay for KD.
Yeah. And also give him a no-trade clause because
You don't
he
have
didn't
to.
learn his lesson the first time.
But KD's better.
So
He is
the
better.
thing
By far.
to consider too in his whole equation, there's a lot of less attention that's being put on Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka is kind of the Peter Baelish of this whole situation. He's been in the background. He hasn't.
Did
been
you just
taking-
Game of Thrones references? Shit?
Absolutely,
Well,
man.
it's getting close, man.
Look, he's been in the background, kind of
Littlefoot?
controlling. Yeah, he's been kind of controlling like the what's going on with all of these free agents they're trying to bring in. And if you remember, Magic Johnson got brought in a fine of $500,000 because he talked about Paul George on live TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's been a lot of missteps. I don't feel like that Jeannie Buss had any. She didn't really know what was going to happen, obviously, because he chose not to share that information with Jeannie Buss at all.
Eagle, thank you for offering me candy, but our job is to speak in the show.
And anyway, my point, the last thing I want to say about Rob Pelinka is that he has a lot to do with the firing of Magic Johnson. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, it's a.
Why do you look so frustrated?
Because you're making a shit ton of sound, and I can't speak. I can't hear anything because you're munching. He just muted me, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Actually, he muted himself, so you can't hear him anymore. Eagle, we have a clip?
We do not have a clip.
Yes, we
Yes,
do.
we
It's
do.
in the script.
We potentially have a clip.
We have a clip.
So while he loads it up, don't you find it kind of crazy that he decides to have his own kind of weird press conference and talk about how he's going to leave, and he doesn't tell Jeannie Buss or anyone else about his plans to quit the team? And then he's saying it's because she's gonna convince me to stay, and then I'm gonna cry, and it's.
Hey, we live in a culture where you just ghost. You just ghost. You don't answer text anymore.
I think it's perfect time for him to leave. I saw a stat like they've only missed the playoffs 5 times in their 65 years or something, and they missed it in the last 5 out of the last 6 years, something like that. Like, it's crazy.
If
Yeah.
LeBron James would have stayed healthy, would he still have a job? Would he have
Magic
stayed?
still have a job?
But would Magic have stayed?
I don't think it's based on the team's performance this current year. I think it's the fear of not being able to track.
That's
down
it,
to Terry's
exactly.
point.
That's exactly what it is.
And Eagle, you got that video for us?
Yeah.
So I want to go back having fun. I want to go back being who I was before taking on this job. And, we're halfway there with LeBron coming. I think this summer with that other star coming in, whoever's going to bring him in.
That other star.
They're going to
this team
overpay
is
for
gonna be
Maybe
in
they
a
know.
position to really contend for championships with the growth of the young players. And so,
Maybe he knows something.
she doesn't know I'm
Lonzo's
standing
hurt.
here because I know I
Ingram
would be crying
has a
like
blood clot.
baby in front of her.
Like,
Kuzma?
I don't know
I'm
what
about
young
to cry
players
now.
he's talking about. He traded Zubac for
And
nothing.
he traded Zubac for like a bag of chips.
No, for that ball.
Mike Muscala.
Is Mike Muscala the guy
Yeah.
with the horseshoe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You're surrounding LeBron with a dude with a horseshoe?
It's
The guy's good, but
No,
I mean,
seriously,
come on.
go get Kyle Korver because he can shoot and he has that gorgeous hair.
There you go.
His beautiful hair.
Kyle Korver's a good-looking man.
But
Yeah.
the fact is, nobody wants to.
He's like
join
a real life
Lakers.
Teen Wolf. If Teen Wolf was more sexy,
Yeah, he's a very.
But how
good-looking
weird
guy.
is it that nobody wants to join Lakers?
it's not that weird.
We don't know yet. It's the offseason hasn't hit yet. The only person that was considered was Davis through trade. Trade didn't work out because the Pelicans
George.
are greedy as fuck.
And Paul George. Paul George chose not to resign with them. You know, they traded
Reports-
D'Angelo Russell for that
Because they didn't have any.
specific
Because they
Reports
didn't
are
have
that-
anybody when he was there.
And reports are that Kawhi Leonard doesn't want to go there either.
He won't go there. I've always said the contrary. I always said that Kawhi Leonard would leave Toronto, but I think he's going to stay in Toronto.
I don't think he's going to leave.
No.
Why?
Yeah.
It's a great team. It's a well-run organization.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting
I
off topic
hate the
again.
Raptors,
Toronto sucks,
whatever.
though.
Next topic.
Wizards fire Ernie Grunfeld. I don't even. Can someone explain to me? John Wall, wasn't he good like a second ago? Is that like?
Well, it's because he got injured.
It reminds me-
always clubbing and drinking. No, that's problem.
It reminds me.
He's heavy now.
It reminds me so much of.
But he's the only player they've had other than Gilbert Arenas in the last 16 years that Grenfeld's been there. That's even been decently good.
And like he was so head and shoulders above the level of Gilbert Arenas. Like
Oh,
Gilbert
yeah.
Arenas was a good player for Washington.
He had a few good years, but you could tell he was a
Yeah,
couple screw
it's
loose.
just Gilbert Arenas did well because he had great opportunity. John Wall did well, even surrounded by other players, even when Bradley Beal got there. And now it's just he reminds me of like what happened with Derrick Rose. It's just his body just betrayed him.
That's it.
And now with his most recent injury, John Wall had to get hurt fucking, right? That's why he's not. That's why it's this ridiculous story. Like,
Is it
oh,
true?
he slipped at home. I don't know. He's hurt. He got hurt at home, and he just sort of texted the organization saying, "Hey guys, I'm hurt. I'm out for the season." A little strange. He's
I
probably
was
slipped in the
banging.
bathtub.
I was doing froggy position.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
always Froggy.
popped
Froggy's
my-
the worst for
and I
that.
popped my Achilles.
One of the biggest mistakes that that Ernie Grunfeld ever made, maybe one of the most notable ones, is that when he traded for Randy Foye and Mike Miller, and basically passed on Ricky Rubio, Steph Curry, Brandon Jennings, and Ty Lawson and DeMar DeRozan. So I mean,
a lot of other people passed on him though.
yeah, that's for sure. But it turned out to be one of the worst decisions he ever made.
And Steph Curry for a long time was a guy who couldn't play in the league because who shoots that many threes? Oh, now it's everyone because of Steph Curry.
But also, I think what they saw is that in the East you're able to build. You see it. So Milwaukee, Toronto, I mean Boston to a certain extent, you're able to build something and do well. You know what I mean? So I think that they saw that and they're like, we need some fresh blood in here to get that new talent.
They're not gonna be able to do it though with the way the cap structure.
If you're the Lakers or the Wizards, what's stopping you from taking all of your chips, all of your money, and putting it on Sam Presti or one of these advanced analytics type of GMs?
the problem is,
or the guy from the Rockets. His name escapes me. I'm on it.
if only there was a
If only we had a guy
whose job it was to do that one thing.
and not play chess.
Yeah.
Do you guys find he looks like an older Dr. Phil if he never lost his hair?
Yeah, that's a good call. He played. I was
Morey.
actually checking his
Daryl
Wikipedia.
Morey.
He played.
Daryl Morey. That's
Daryl Morey or Sam Presti, like,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
stopping them from taking all their money and
Well,
saying, well, you know,
if you're Daryl Morey, why would you take, especially the Washington job? That
Why
cap.
why leave Houston?
He has a
LeBron.
max cap hit on John Wall that you're not going to be able to get rid of.
it's a bad contract.
Keep it.
You have no choice. You have to keep it, and you have to hope he's going to return to some level of, like, at this point, if you can get 15 points a night from John Wall, you'll be happy.
Yeah.
Because he just some level of production that symbols some level of success. If he can help set up the other guys and put up a decent amount of points a night, that would be success. But he's been unhealthy.
He's also out
he's had
partying
awful
all
games.
the time. Like, there's people that that work in these clubs that say that he's out all night till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but basketball's
I
at night. So
I know, but that's one of the things that we hear. And he looks super chunks now and all unkept.
I feel
So
like
who knows what
that's
he's
part
doing.
of the injuries too, though. Because if you're having, like, especially a lot of leg and back injuries, it's hard to stay in shape in the NBA
In life,
and life in general. But yeah, so I think that's something to be considered.
I
as well.
say that I'm out of shape because my hips hurt. It's not because of the garbage that I eat.
I would say the reason. Go ahead, Eagle. I'll
I'm
wait.
out of shape because my jaw hurts from all the
So-
eating I do.
No, it's all
If
from
you
all the.
weren't eating your stupid ass candy, you wouldn't have to take time on the mic to interrupt me. You could have just used the time I had initially prepared for you. Listen back. You're a jackass.
You know what, Eagle? You can talk whenever you want when I'm talking.
Yeah, dude, you've been munching since you got here. You've been munching on candy since you got here.
It's okay. Keep punching. Keep punching.
That's all I hear all show.
Don't do that shit anymore, man.
That's what you would tell Antonio Brown if he was right here, right?
Don't do that shit anymore.
I wrote an article supporting Antonio Brown earlier this week.
Okay, so
It was a good one.
I support.
Yeah, I
I
enjoyed it.
support content.
Yes. This guy.
I support content, and he gives us a shitload. But do everybody else a favor and shut the fuck up.
I just feel like I don't know why you'd say that, because all he's doing is hurting himself. Like, it's funny to me. Like,
Why go after Juju? He did
Well, because Juju's
literally
a jerk.
Why?
Well, first of all, he supports Mike Tomlin, who keeps telling people to play without eyelids. Don't know what that means.
Play without islands.
Play without eyelids.
Not
Eyelids.
Oh, just keep your eyes open.
Yeah, no blinking, man. No blinking.
No
they got
hydration.
they got a no eyelid philosophy.
Okay.
So that's the first thing.
So I support my
Second thing
coach. Okay, go.
Second
Next.
thing is
Next point.
No, not my coach. Crazy coach who believes in no eyelids. Also, have you ever seen Mike Tomlin blink?
Yeah, he has. I've actually looked it up. There's a bunch of gifs of him blinking.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's a thing that I did.
So it turns out I'm wrong.
I would like to see one of those.
The next
I'm on
thing
it.
is Juju and him on a Pizza Hut commercial. Pretty sure he did it to help Juju out because Pizza Hut is gross. They still think a salad bar is a thing.
They have the pizzone there, the
Yeah.
calzone.
What the hell's that?
Looks.
Get out of my face.
It looks so bad. I still want to buy it.
Which I mean, look, we're gonna leave here and go to Pizza Hut. let's be real.
I don't even know where the closest Pizza Hut is here.
There's no one could know that. It's not,
I haven't
it's not a knowable thing.
I haven't seen a Pizza Hut in forever.
Yeah.
I have no
You
idea
know who
where
has
they are.
Juju Smith-Schuster because he's a jerk.
So he's not a jerk. He's literally done
No,
nothing
he's
wrong.
not at all. He's a
really
sweetheart.
not.
I know. I'm just taking one side here. Your job is to take the other side.
See, look, he blinks.
Oh, it's only when he turns his head. So he's like a robot.
So maybe look,
maybe he'll die. and
maybe
then
that's
you could add him to your robot
maybe that's
list.
why the message is dying in Pittsburgh. He keeps telling guys not to blink. He keeps blinking like a jerk.
And to add to this whole story, apparently Jack Del Rio came out of nowhere
Yeah,
saying
what the hell
that,
is that?
he's saying like Raiders better be careful about Antonio Brown. He's gonna be such a distraction. You know.
What's interesting is he's never been a distraction in a season until last season, where he obviously did not get along.
Well, there's
with
also
the
that time
organization.
when he live tweeted Mike Tomlin talking, which is kind of weird.
Which whatever, who cares?
It's pretty weird. And because the whole speech was Mike
It was the
Tomlin
same
telling
year.
people to stay
It was
off.
the same year. No, it was
Yeah.
last year.
No, it was Mike.
Stay
Mike Tomlin was
off
telling them
the
to get off the phone, and what one of his speeches about.
But listen, if you
Don't get on technology.
if you're
Don't-
not
don't-
blinking,
don't
you
do
have so
anything
much
bad.
more time to be on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I mean, it's kind of like giving two messages here.
So Antonio Brown just needs to forget about the Steelers.
But do you follow him? Do you follow him on Instagram or Twitter? He's
On Twitter, yeah.
constantly posting pictures of him shirtless. If I had his body, dude, I would be naked all the time.
Well, what's wrong with my body?
Well, I mean, some people would like it.
No, but he's going after Juju. Like Juju did nothing wrong. Poor kid.
No, he didn't. But
Did you see
I
what
don't even know
Le'Veon
why
Bell?
Juju.
Did you see what Le'Veon Bell did?
He was telling him like to tone it down or something.
No. Le'Veon Bell posted a screenshot of his conversation with James Conner. Fucking Pokemon, man.
You were saying?
He screenshotted a conversation with him and James Conner, and how James Conner said, "Hey, thanks for keeping like our names out of the media. You were never a guy to throw anybody under the bus. You're a great teammate. Good for you for holding out. Like kind of like a good good message."
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell's like, I never want to expose a teammate, but this time I have to. And you see, it's like all supportive.
So the thing is, like, I just feel like Antonio Brown posting that picture of Juju Smith-Schuster's text message, that just makes Antonio Brown look bad.
Yeah, it makes
So why
Juju
does
look amazing.
So why does anyone care?
That's what
Did
I'm
you-
saying.
did you-
So why do it?
Did you guys see that
'Cause
video?
it's awesome for me.
As soon as Antonio Brown signed with the Raiders, there's this super weird video he posted on, that him or Derek Carr posted online, where it was Antonio Brown literally the next day, just randomly showing up to Derek Carr's house, like it wasn't random at all. And they had this like super weird, awkward hug, and then he's starting to hang out with his kids, and then they go and they start throwing the ball in the football.
Whenever
field
there's
around the
cameras
corner.
involved, it's full of shit.
Oh, it was so fake, and it was just so lame. And the whole time when I was looking, I'm thinking, Derek
The
Carr's
Raiders
not going to be there.
The
in
Raiders
next 2 years.
publicist started, and he will be there. Derek Carr.
He's not.
He will.
They're getting rid of him.
I'm telling you, he will.
Eagle, you got to hit the news sound
Derek Carr-
once again because we have breaking news.
Derek Carr
happening
will be
right now.
the coach, or the quarterback of the Raiders.
Breaking news.
Magic Johnson has AIDS again.
It's time for news, Terry. That's the thing I say whenever there's news, which is every week. This week we have extra news happening during our show. The CFL buys the Alouettes with the intention of selling it to new owners.
Nice.
This is the second time in Montreal's history that a team has been bought by a league only to potentially move them out of here. You think there's a future for the Alouettes in town?
There's very little privatized money in Montreal anymore, and a lot of the big money people are going after a new baseball franchise. And the thing is that the Alouettes don't really have their own stadium. They rent a stadium. They don't have their own practice facility.
The worst stadium ever.
They rent a practice facility.
Terrible stadium.
They're the only team in the CFL that doesn't have their own stadium with their own locker room and things like that. So I think that's the part of the money that's the part that needs to be addressed first. If they can't do that, then I don't see it coming back. There's still a huge market for Montreal. You have to have a team in Quebec.
And I mean, they could share a field with, if the Expos were to actually have a field, build a new field. I feel like they can merge because the seasons don't intersect.
If you're a team if you're bringing a team to the Major League Baseball, you want it to be your own stadium.
Okay,
because you don't want to fall into what the Olympic Stadium was before.
Yeah, this is according to a report by Didier Ormjust. Ormjust reported the league's goal is to sell the Alouettes to a new ownership group by the beginning of the new season.
Yeah, there is a few ownership groups that are involved.
So they might be sold to. So they might not even stay in
exactly.
Montreal. They might
no,
go
but
somewhere
there is
else.
a report that Montreal businessman Clifford Stark
Yeah.
will formally announce his intent to purchase the club on
fuck,
Thursday.
we got to Stark buying the team.
No, he's already been
Iron Man, bro.
He's already been involved. It's been months. Like he's been trying to buy the team.
I'm looking him up. Clifford Stark?
Yeah, big time money Montreal guy.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting times for the Montreal Alouettes.
That's what happens when you lose Johnny Manziel.
That's not what happens when you lose Johnny Manziel. But I'll tell you what, when you lose two greats like the NBA did this week, with D Wade and Dirk. Although I don't know if did Dirk officially announce his retirement?
Yes,
he did,
it's official.
There's something.
Well, so like I think with Dirk Nowitzki, if he didn't announce his retirement, the team would have announced it for him.
Oh, and
he was not looking good.
Mark
this season.
Cuban specifically said, "He's like, we are gonna retire your jersey, and we're gonna build a giant badass statue as well."
Of course, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, no, I mean because
He
he's
brought
he's
them a total of one
top 10
championship.
top 10 player. I think in a lot of different statistics in the NBA.
Can you look up at one point? Dirk Nowitzki was given a whole bunch of beers by a brewery. Can you look up how many beers that was? Because it was an insane amount.
Wait, you
By
want me to
Burry?
look up
By
how many beers
Pavel
he
Burry?
has?
He was given by as a promo.
Pavel Burry?
No, Dirk Nowitzki.
No, by who? You said by Burry.
By a brewery.
A brewery.
30,000. Bud Light gave him 30,000 beers.
Yeah.
In honor of
for his
Dirk
like 30,000 points.
It's a
or
nice
something.
weekend for Dirk.
For us, that's one weekend.
So losing Wade's huge, man. Like,
Did you see that commercial? That Bud Light commercial?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, I cried so hard.
yeah, it's a tearjerker.
I was in bed all alone crying.
So
in the cold.
I don't cry. I'm dry. Crocodile tears right here.
I don't know. I know most people won't agree, and I hate doing like top 10, top 5, top. To me, in my experience watching basketball and everything I know about basketball, Dwayne Wade is after Michael Jordan, the best two guard I've ever seen play the game. It's stop saying Kobe. I understand.
I wasn't gonna say Kobe.
Okay, but a lot of people believe that to be the case. And look,
I don't
people measure
disagree with you.
championships. People measure first team all defensive. But look, a lot of things Dwayne Wade does on defense are not necessarily things that affect the stat sheet.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of like points, and he does have the most blocks for a two guard all time.
I don't disagree with you.
According to Ranker.com, Dwayne Wade is ranked number 3 after Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and after him there's Allen Iverson, Jerry West, Clyde Drexler, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen.
I mean,
McGrady.
look, they're all within
he's
the
ranked number
same
3.
realm of whatever. In my opinion, he's the second best I've ever seen do it after Michael Jordan.
5,700 votes for number 3.
I would, Dwayne Wade's one of the best players I've seen in my era. You know?
What he meant to the city, what he did on the defensive side of the court, and I know Kobe had the reputation for being locked.
He got drafted by Miami, right?
He won 3 championships as well.
He got drafted by Miami, right?
Yeah,
He was,
absolutely.
out of Marquette.
He carried Shaq and he carried LeBron in 2 of those championships where they were awful. In the finals.
And Shaq, I think that championship, he was kind of like limping pretty much throughout the whole time. So Dwayne Wade basically put him on his back.
And he's got a hot wife.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you
Gabrielle
guys?
Union.
Did you see Paul Pierce's reaction? So he was on one of these NBA
Yeah, we
shows.
posted online.
We posted on the Hot Sauce
I
feed.
didn't see it.
So he was asked.
Follow us, man.
You should follow.
I don't
your
have anything, so I am hot sauce. I didn't see it.
He follows. He was asked the question. Say, hey, who's this? Who's better, Paul Pierce or Dwayne Wade? He's like, obviously it was me. And then he gets ripped apart by Jalen Rose,
Of course.
and Michelle Beadle on the broadcast. And
But why? Okay, so
like, they set him up for failure, though,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
he
So
has to say himself.
Basketball players, they're very proud of themselves, right?
Yes.
It's always it's how they grew up, right? You're always playing one-on-one.
But that's how you succeed in
That's
the league,
it.
right?
You've always been able to succeed that way. So it's like, so he's obviously going to come up and say, "I'm the best, but I respect Dwayne Wade." You know what I mean? It's just like Kobe when they asked him, "Who out of these three players, who's the best of all time? Rank the best of all time: Kobe, LeBron, or MJ?" And he had to say MJ. No, he said, "I'm first best." And they're second best or whatever it is.
And the other thing is, at 37 years old, he's still the best player on the Heat.
Who? Oh yeah,
Dwayne Wade coming off the
What about
coming off the
Doc?
bench.
What about
So who's the best comparable to Dwayne Wade right now?
I would say. Oh, you mean right now in the
Yeah.
league? I'll look it up.
Play it. Wait,
Let's hear.
All NBA first team twice. Paul hasn't done it. He made
I love Jalen Rose.
All NBA 8 times to your 4. He made all defensive team 3 times to your 0.
This is after he said it.
Scoring title, you
Yeah.
weren't able to win the scoring
We added in the music.
He won a scoring title. You weren't able to win a scoring title. I love Jalen Rose. Yeah. So who's? I have somebody in mind. I was talking with a friend of ours actually this weekend, and he brought up a name that I like.
You know, it's funny that when I watch Luka Doncic play, he reminds me of prime
Dirk.
Dwayne Wade.
Yes
There's
and
so
no.
many flashes, a lot of the same moves. It's crazy.
Luka like Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, I feel like that's the closest.
There's
comparable,
the
I
pump
guess.
fake.
Yeah, I guess.
There's
There's Malcolm Brogdon too from Milwaukee who's
Yeah.
injured.
The thing is, the game's changed a lot. Like Dwayne Wade, he was a guy who would come down the court full speed, stop on a dime, pull up for a mid-range jumper. That doesn't exist anymore.
So Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell to a degree as well, yeah.
Yeah.
But his dedication to not only the defensive side of the court, but also the way he adapted his game through time, just to me is absolutely amazing. And I don't know. I think to see these guys in the second phase of their careers, that'll tell us if any of them can measure up to the greatness that is Dwayne Wade.
But there's some things about Dwayne Wade's career that kind of depresses me a little bit. Like, for example, the first year where they were all the big three were together, where they lost to them, the Mavericks, I felt like they had things rolling. Game 1, they pretty much dismantled the Mavericks.
But why? He's won 3 championships.
He could have had more. I mean,
I get it, but he's still. We're not thinking about that as like as a black.
What
mark
else
on
I was
his-
going
on
to
his
say is
career.
another thing is the way everything ended last night. So
Oh,
the
and he
game,
fell off the thing?
finishes. He tries to jump onto the top of the
Yeah,
announcer
but he
table,
salvaged
like,
himself.
falls.
He salvaged himself.
He also has been getting rejected by the rim for the last few years.
Yeah, that's old age.
It's been tough. It's been tough.
And there was a stint with the Bulls that was awful.
Yeah, it's
Cavs.
Can we just get rid of the Bulls? Like, just they have a great history. Their future is not going to be great for a little while.
can't name a
I
single
like
Bulls
that he
player.
went back to Miami to finish.
That was
Yeah.
cool. That was good.
I mean, I kind of wish he never would've left, but look.
No, but
they-
it wasn't up to him. He
Yeah.
felt Pat Riley wanted him to retire.
We had
He wasn't ready.
We had a bizarre basketball experience the other night. It was the NCAA finals.
Oh, so
There was
weird.
no power across the city.
Weird night.
You guys came to our house, to my house. We're gonna have a watch party there, and then as soon as we sat down, wings are in the oven, pizza's ordered, beers in our hands. As soon as we sat down to watch a great college basketball game, power shuts off. We have to wait for the pizza to arrive, scramble to a bar. The bar was awful.
Yeah.
It smelled what I think heroin smells like.
In my article, it says it smelled like the inside of a crack pipe.
Yep. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's
Pretty
it.
close.
It was awful. It was awful. There was no sound for the game, but there was the sounds of the
Old man.
the slot machines in the back room.
The sound of the old men fondling the young waitresses.
Yeah, it was
absolutely.
so weird.
And your thoughts quickly on the game. We've been spending a month talking about March Madness. It's been amazing.
It was a great game. I like the way it ended.
That block.
The block at the end on Culver was nasty. Who was it? Diakite they did, or was it Hunter? That block.
I
I
wanna
think it
say
was.
some-
I'm going to say Hunter, but I'll find out.
I want to
think
say
it was
Hunter too, but
But
yeah, and Culver's going to be. It's reported he's going to be a lottery pick.
Yeah,
this
he
season.
is gonna be a
So
lottery
like,
pick, for
it would have
sure.
been so fitting for him to make
To
make
make-
that
yeah,
shot
to
at the
nail
hoop.
I was rooting for Texas Tech. You know, I'm always a fan of an underdog. It just but Virginia played a very good. Had a very good tournament. Their defensively, they're excellent. Texas Tech left DeAndre Hunter wide open for some reason. They went 3-on-1. They bounced it out to DeAndre Hunter on that play on the 3-point, so he could take the lead, and from then it was over.
Not to mention they went 12 for 12 on the free throws.
Free throws,
in the
there
5
you go.
minutes.
Huge, huge.
It's honestly, it showed the difference between a big program and a small school. Like once you got to overtime, there's not a soul in this world who thought Texas Tech was going to win that game.
That's it.
It's just that you knew at some point, look, the Virginia's the big dog, and this is why.
And wasn't Virginia losing their first game to Gardner Webb by like a good
and
20
they
points?
lost. They were the only one seed to ever lose to a 16 seed last season.
Yeah, so they've had their troubles.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna break for a second. When we come back, we'll come back with our interview with Stephane Savage Paulson.
Yes.
He's a wrestler.
Yes.
We're going to talk to him about his experience in wrestling, his path, as well as WrestleMania that just passed, and vintage wrestling video games, because they were awesome.
And you can subscribe. Yeah, you can always subscribe.
They get the shows, then they choose to listen to it or
subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then follow us at Hot Sauce Sports on every social media.
No one, you can't be oversubscribed because that's not a word.
Exactly. So subscribe just the right amount of time.
Be a word.
And Steph?
Of course. Yeah, I took all 7 hours in, and it was amazing. It was long.
Yeah, for sure. But that's what it is. Right? That's WrestleMania. Everybody takes their time. Everybody takes the day off to watch it. What did you think of the event? There was a lot of everything I read online. Everybody, not a lot of people were fans of it.
Well, as a professional wrestler, I watch wrestling now not only as a fan but as someone that works in the business. And if I was to grade it as a fan, I would most likely give it like a B+, B+. But as someone that, is enthralled in the business and, every day in and day out, more like, maybe like a C-. It was okay. It wasn't the best WrestleMania I've ever seen, but it was definitely not by far the worst, The length of it tends to play in why I disliked it a little bit. I think that's most people's complaint about WrestleMania is that now it just runs too long. But all in all, I think if you look at it at a point of view from the business side, their storylines were all advanced, and going forward with the shakeup that's coming next week. So I think that their main primary goal was that, and they accomplished that. As far as putting on great matches, some matches were great, and some were, could have been better. So,
what did you think of Undertaker making his surprise return and the rumors that he may once again be returning for like a little comeback tour?
Just give it up, man.
I think there's a reason why he came back on Raw and not at WrestleMania. I believe that at the end of the day, Undertaker has been a company man since day one that he signed with WWE. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I know there was rumors that he might go to AEW, and that actually he had signed some sort of something that he was going to attend some sort of event for them. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to stick around with the WWE. As far as having a comeback, I could see him make a few appearances here and there like he did on Monday. But as far as any type of match, I mean, for me personally, I don't want to see it. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I think the majority of people tend to think that it's about time that he hangs it up, and that it might be time. At the end of the day, he's going to have one last match, and I think it's coming about that time that they should announce it and build towards him having one final big match in the WWE.
So you're a pro wrestler. You know what it takes to take the beatings every day, training. It's not easy, right? Just because it's it could be scripted at times. You know what I mean? It's not an easy job for sure, not right. So Undertaker is pushing 60, if not. How the hell is he still able to do it? Like, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. He looks stiff. He can't move.
Because he's 60.
Look,
to be fair,
at the end of the day, he is getting up there in age. He's been doing it for a long time. He did it for the majority of his career in a time where the training and nutrition and all that weren't what it is today. A lot of professional wrestlers, either it be on, in the WWE, New Japan, or like just on the indie scene, people take it a bit more seriously when it comes down to nutrition, training, and recuperation and all that kind of jazz. He came up in a time where it was 300 days on the road, drinking beer almost every night with the boys, and putting your body through day in and day out. Just, you're in the ring. Look, I do it I'm at a point now that I mostly wrestle every weekend, sometimes twice a weekend. And on weekends where I have to wrestle, Saturday and sometimes Sunday, by the time I get home on Sunday, physically, I'm beat up, but emotionally, and I'm drained because there's traveling involved. For me personally, I'm away from my family. I'm away from the people that I love, and it takes a toll after a while. It's a sacrifice we're all ready to do and make, and we do it every weekend. But physically, it's definitely not an easy thing to do. And Taker, I think the style of wrestling that he's used through the years, being a big man, but not like a out of shape big man. Like he's always been like 6'10", like pretty much like, tone and fit. It's helped him throughout his career. He's taken some big bumps, but the style of wrestling he puts on in a match is not one of, let's say, a lot of the new guys now, like the Daniel Bryan and the high impact. So I think that is the main reason that he's able to do it almost now in his 50s and still be able to walk up and be able to perform in the ring,
So what I got to give the guys at WWE credit for is I kind of felt like when I was really, really, really into wrestling, it was sort of like what we all consider sort of this golden age of wrestling. And then it went through a lull. And I just assumed it was always one of those things that it will have gone away over time. Like it was cool when it was ECW, WCW, WWF back in the day. And now it just felt like, okay, well, this will dwindle into nothing. And it's completely reinvented itself. Yeah. But for me, the question I have is, going back to that first day of Golden Age, what was your favorite wrestling video game? Because for me, it was WCW, NWO, Revenge. Yeah. Exactly.
That's a good one.
The best one of all time, in my opinion.
Was that now Nintendo 64?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that must have been my favorite. I think that was in the late 90s, like 98, 99?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that must. Yeah, I played that one quite a bit. I played the arcade game back in like the early 90s.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I used to always take Typhoon for no reason. I don't know why I took Typhoon. I loved him in that game. Him and Ultimate Warrior, my two favorite, but Ultimate Warrior makes sense. Why would anybody take Typhoon? I always took Typhoon.
Yeah.
What about Earthquake?
Do you guys remember Saturday Night Slam Masters?
No.
Vaguely. Oh,
yeah, that's good. That was a good one.
What is that?
Good one. I would be able to play it till like about 9 p.m. and then if
which
I played
one
after,
is that one?
It was called Saturday Night Slam Masters 1994 Capcom.
But they weren't real wrestlers. They were like
they were kind of made up.
The one with the pink and the star.
Yeah.
It was like knockoff wrestlers.
It felt like Street Fighter basically.
Yeah.
I never heard of this game.
It was pretty.
There's one that I played a lot. Also was Capcom WrestleMania. I think it was Capcom. I believe the maker. It was WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course. But the thing is, it had like the state, like the ring, and it was like immovable. Like nothing moved in the ring, and guys would just come in. They would slide. In.
Oh yeah.
I love that game.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's I played a lot of that on arcade. There was an arcade place back home, and they had the machine. I used to play all the time.
Nothing's better than Revenge, though. The Battle Royale. Yeah. I used to love taking Conan and do the Tequila Sunrise.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my favorite. So you used to fight MMA. You switched to pro wrestling. We all love or hate Ronda Rousey. After you've seen her, it's been about a year. She's been on the scene. What do you think of her so far?
In ring, I am blown away on. She reminds me of Kurt Angle. It's exactly, if I was going to grade her on her in-ring talent.
That's high praise.
the fact that she's able to. Here's the thing. You have to look past the way she moves, the way she presents herself in the ring, certain moves. If you really look at her moveset, it's very limited. Yeah. But the fact that they were able to put her in a main event spot so quickly, basically from day one, and have matches in that spot, either it be on Raw or at a pay-per-view, is what makes it, which is what blows my mind, in my opinion, because as a pro wrestler, you got to make your way up, and there's so many things to learn. I mean, it's not just the physical act, but it's everything, the psychology of wrestling and the fan interaction, the important things. She has that. I mean, you could tell that she puts in the work outside of the ring to understand and study wrestling. It shows. So as far as her credential and the way she performs in the ring, I have nothing bad to say about it. I mean, I don't think if anybody really sits there and thinks about it and knows the business, they really can't say anything bad on that aspect of her game. As far as the rest, the outside, the mic work, and that for everybody, for most people, is what is the hardest. Some people just can't cut promos. It's never in their DNA. It's never going to be, no matter how hard. The minute you put a mic in their hand or a camera in their face, it's game over.
Like Roman Reigns is brutal at it.
He is. He's improved, but yes. And the thing with WWE that I think people kind of either don't know or don't understand is that a lot of the times when they're asked to go out there in front of a crowd, it's scripted from A to Z. They give you bullet points. You got to hit on every bullet point, and you have to start the promo here and end it here. You have to make your way. It has to make sense. They practice it in front of, so when it's scripted and you're already someone that is not good on the mic, then it comes off as scripted. And people have a hard time connecting with something that is scripted. For example, like if you, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you're taking someone, first of all, you need to be, peak athletic form. Then on top of that, you're expecting these people who have not spent a lifetime learning how to act to then learn how to act. In the case, let's say, of converted MMA fighters like Ronda Rousey, it was never really part of the job necessarily to be an actor in terms of taking in a script and being able to deliver it in front of the camera and in front of people. Yeah, not only in front of the camera, it's true, but you're also a live performer too.
Yeah, but those cornrows though. Terrible cornrows.
The thing in MMA is that if you're going to speak in front of a camera, you're doing it the day before, the week before, the month before. You're prepared. They have people that prepare you how to speak to the media, either microphone, cameras, or at a press conference, so that type of thing. In wrestling, you have those, like we all cut promos behind the scene, but when you're put in front of a live crowd and you have no idea, you can kind of formulate like, oh, the crowd is going to react like this or they're going to react like that, but you really can't, like, for sure 100% know. So you have to kind of, the thing about pro wrestling is that you're right, like you can be the most physically gifted person and be so good in the ring, but be so bad at connecting with the crowd and being able, you have to be able to get the people to react emotionally, either good or bad. And it's a part of wrestling. You have to be able to convey those emotions and those acts in the ring so that the people in the crowd can either react positively or negatively. But you want them to do so based on what you're doing in the ring or what you're saying. You never want them to boo you before you've done or said anything.
Yes.
Because then you're just booing the person, the wrestler. And Rousey is 50-50. Yeah. People either love her or hate her. It was the same thing in MMA. People were like, you're either a fan or you're not a fan. It's black or white with her. when she came to wrestling, I think that there was enough time in between her MMA career and the wrestling career. I think they kind of WWE did a really good job at kind of making as if her MMA career towards the end of her career never happened. When she got destroyed by Amanda Nunes, when she got knocked the fuck out by Holmes, they did a good job so that people didn't constantly think about that. They just saw her as a badass, and in the ring, it showed. You're like, God damn, like she could really kick some ass, and she was really good at it. Mm-hmm. Facials were good and everything, but then when you put a mic in her hand, she spoke so fast. She didn't take time to breathe. She didn't let the time for the audience to grasp what she was saying and to sit on it and go ooh or ah or boo or yay. It was just it was from A to Z. I'm done. I'm dropping the mic and I'm gone. And I think it was a bit rough for her. But all in all, I think if you look at the last, I don't know, whatever, 12 months, or you want to, from the first time she stepped into the ring to now to WrestleMania, like I said, Kurt Angle, first 12 months, won all these titles and was a top guy, and she was a main event player from day one, and it's rare in the game. Obviously, her credentials from her past and from her MMA career, it totally has something to do with it, but at the end of the day, when you're a pro wrestler, they don't go easy on you. The guys in the back don't go easy on you, and they'll fucking tell you, like, yo, you ain't shit until you've done good in that ring as far as our business is concerned.
Stephane Paulson joining us on Hot Sauce Sports. He joins us from Torture Chamber. Stephane, you're also, when you're not in the ring, when you're not training, you're also a Steelers fan. We've been laughing at the awesomeness that is Antonio Brown. But I imagine you're not taking it the same way, right?
Steph's like, don't get me started on the Steelers.
Antonio Brown is a straight clown, and a lot of people want to shit. And it's listen, Antonio Brown, I ain't a fan of him no more. He moved on. When he moved on, I tweeted. I said, listen, I wish nothing but good luck. You know, there was drama with him. There was no mending anything with the Steelers. Good riddance. Go on, be great somewhere else. But now what he's doing, I mean, listen, there's something more there, and I think a lot of people are mentioning, like, in my opinion, if you really look at it, like, he took some big shots to the head, and I think, honestly, I think there's something that really needs to
there's a screw loose there.
He really needs to take something in consideration, because he's making himself look like a fool, and I don't understand how his teammates in Oakland are going to trust him if they know what type of character he is. You know what I mean?
We talked about that earlier in the show. Is that this type of character seemed to have come out of nowhere from him? He wasn't like this before, and you know what? That's an interesting point. Is these guys take a lot of hits, and we don't know how it affects you. And in this case, it's definitely something that could be a contributing factor.
Well, do you remember when he took the hit from Perfect in was it
another
in the wild card game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was that one.
Yeah, it was in the wild card game, right? That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And if you look at his track record from then on, or when he came back from then, the next season, his off-the-field demeanor wasn't the same anymore. And it was, if you look at how he dresses, how he paints his mustache.
Gold mustache, yes.
Like, look, I grew up in the 90s. As a teenager, I remember the Deion Sanders, and I remember the flashiness, but he did it in a way where it was him, and him. He wasn't throwing anybody under the bus.
Yeah, but they didn't have Twitter back then.
He was like, yeah, exactly. So now he has this social media, and he's on there, and he's making himself look like honestly, you can't really tell what goes on in his head, and it could be a factor, it couldn't be a factor, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, my thing with him or anybody is that he's on a new team. He hasn't played one down with Oakland yet, and there's already all this drama surrounding him. So what do you think his teammates are going to be like? Yo, we're here to play football, and you're bringing all this drama already?
Or maybe he's doing what Tom Brady does, and he puts all the attention on him, So he takes the pressure away from the rest of his teammates.
Get out of here.
Tom Brady does that in the Super Bowl.
What he does is
really
he
think
takes
he
all the
does that?
steroids. He takes all the
All the
steroids.
steroids.
And everyone's like, he's clearly on steroids.
Yeah.
And then nobody looks at, well, Gronk is basically a clinical trial gone wrong.
That's it, exactly.
And we're allowing him to play. So
That's it.
He's a polar bear that plays football.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah.
That's all he is.
There you go. Yeah,
Right?
well,
But look, I think we can all agree that Gronk is going to play football again.
you think so? Yeah.
I don't think so. I think
Nah,
he's
he's
done.
going to wrestling.
You don't think so?
He's going to wrestling.
No, I don't. I think
WWE.
I think his
is-
body is pretty worn down.
I think you're right, but I think a year off can fix a lot of.
Do you
I think so
see
too.
him in WWE? Do you think he'd be a good fit?
I think he would be. Look, I think it'd be a great fit as far as selling tickets. As far as an in-ring performer, I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't see him. I don't see it either. I don't see it for a lot of. It's hard, man. It's a hard business.
Well, the way he
Here's
mispronounces words will be the best thing ever. So.
That's it exactly.
I'm not saying he's not athletically gifted. He's
course he
a
is,
freak athlete. I'm just saying a lot of these athletes do not understand the work that goes behind being a professional wrestler. It's a lot more than just the physical aspect of it.
Well, I see it on your Instagram. You see all those promos that you make. You're one of my favorite Instagram follows. All the promos that you cut and all those things. It's a different side of you.
It's extremely time consuming. Here's the thing with pro wrestling is that the people that aren't in the business, that just watch it as a fan, watch the end product. They sit down in front of their couch on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, and on Sundays once every couple of weeks. And they watch matches, they see the product that's put in front of them. They don't see the work behind it. So as a pro wrestler myself, when I started, it was holy shit. Like there's a lot more that goes on. There's obvious politics, like any sports or any venture. Then there's the work, like you said, the promos and the psychology and how you can portray yourself, outside of the ring, so that when you do step into the ring, people don't go, oh, well, no, he's really like this, but this is really just a character he's playing. Like me, Terry, we've known each other for a while. Like when I step into the ring, it's me turned up to 15. That's basically what it is, I don't really play a gimmick. It's myself based on my traits and what I'm able to bring inside a ring. And there's so many aspects of it. And I think Gronk would be great at the physical aspect, but when it would come down to put in the work, if he thinks putting in the work in NFL and physically in the NFL, there's nothing like it. It's a grime. It's horrible. But the traveling, the this and the that, and WWE is such a machine. They have so many shows on their network that record and this and that. They're an empire. They're not like any other wrestling business. If you take WWE compared to any other promotion in the world, it's two different things. They run 6+ hours of television every week. 5 of those are on cable television. It's only soap operas run more hours a week, I believe, than or like game shows and shit like that. So it's a big production that have a lot of money and a lot of people involved in it. And you can't let any of those people down.
Yeah, that amount of content is absolutely impressive. Thank you, Stephane, for joining us. Stephane Paulson, again, joining us from Torture Chamber. Soon, hopefully, we'll see him maybe fighting off Gronk in a WWE ring. We'll see if that day comes. If not, though, all the best to you, brother.
Thanks. Hey, can I just plug one date for
absolutely?
If you guys don't mind? Yeah, May 4th is Montreal Mayhem here in Montreal on Monk at Paradox Theater. Montreal Mayhem is a show that is presented by Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling Dojo, and it's basically our WrestleMania for the year. It's where all the storylines either end or begin, but it's our WrestleMania, and so it's on May 4th. There's still a few tickets available, $20 per ticket, and it's May 4th. It's at Paradox Theater. Check it out. You can check the Facebook page for Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling Dojo, or you can check me out on Instagram. I post a lot about it. I'll be posting a lot about it in the next few weeks, so at Savage Paulson.
Yeah. So Savage, thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and definitely check out his event and check him out with Torture Chamber Wrestling Dojo. Thanks very much. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Much love. Bye.
And you can subscribe. Yeah, you can always subscribe.
They get the shows, then they choose to listen to it or
subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then follow us at Hot Sauce Sports on every social media.
No one, you can't be oversubscribed because that's not a word.
Exactly. So subscribe just the right amount of time.
Be a word.
Thriving as a pro wrestler.
Absolutely. Yeah. Peeze, Terry, with you at Hot Sauce Sports. Duke.
Yeah, man.
You're here as well, and you got some rapid fire for us, don't you?
I do. We already went over the first one, which is March Madness.
All right.
So we'll move on to the next one.
Screw you.
Nice. Sorry, I didn't recognize the new format that says RF.
You never recognize any formats. No more Cubans in baseball.
Yeah. So according to the American government, the allowing of human beings to play a sport is violates their trade embargo with Cuba.
Yes.
Yeah. So what they're saying is baseball is human trafficking.
Pretty much.
No, but it's the way that they go about it.
No, because the Cuban Baseball Federation is part of the government.
Absolutely.
So you can't. So
Okay, but how this is for a lot of people, it's their chance to exile from a country where they're not happy with the conditions.
But they're not exiled though, because they do take a percentage. Like Yoel Romero, example, he can go back and forth. Puig can go back and forth.
Yeah.
So you're.
Well, but it allows. So when I say exile, it allows them the opportunity to leave the country freely.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is not easy to do.
And make good money.
And make good money, absolutely. Yeah. And we see it in countries like China, where they pay the government to be able to leave to study elsewhere.
Yeah.
And to hopefully start a new life in another country, because they want a life that's different from the life experience they have in countries that you can have whatever feelings you have about those countries. This is their opportunity to have a different experience, whether better or worse.
And a similar thing happens in China with their basketball players.
I think
absolutely.
A lot of them have to pay the government.
It'll end up getting fixed.
It's not unique to Cuba.
Yeah. It'll end up getting fixed anyway.
But what is unique is their trade agreements between Cuba and the United States.
And the thing is, you can't build a wall in China because it's already there.
But should politics be involved in sports? Nope.
But largely, unfortunately, it is.
Yeah.
Fights in baseball.
Not enough of them.
Not enough.
Not enough of them.
The SELP went after the whole Pirates lineup, and we got so many Taiwanese followers now.
That's the coolest thing. So one thing I learned is apparently people from Taiwan love baseball fights, which makes Taiwan my new favorite place in the world.
Yeah,
I love a good baseball fight.
How about we go road trip live in Taiwan.
Okay, well, that wouldn't be a road trip, Terry, because
fly
you
trip.
can't fucking drive there.
It would be a trip.
I feel like you don't understand what the hot sauce budget is.
I don't think so. What's your favorite baseball fight of all time?
There was one where I don't remember. Look it up. Where the pitch went by, and the batter kicked the catcher in the chest,
and then it ran towards the pitcher because he knew the catcher was going to follow him.
Yeah,
I think that was Armando Benitez.
Yeah, I think it was.
I'll look it up.
You can't go wrong with Nolan Ryan, the headlock punching in the top of the head.
That's classic too.
Or you can't go wrong with Pedro Martinez 1, 2, or 3.
Look, guys, the fact is that this is a really good topic of conversation, because we actually have an article coming out soon that's going to be the top 10 baseball fights of all time.
There you go.
Now,
who's writing it?
Not me.
I'm taking care of it.
Nice.
This is a point of passion for me.
Yeah.
Robots, motels, and baseball fights.
You got it, bud.
That's the name of your memoir.
You're a chameleon.
Yeah.
Hate those chameleons.
So Alex Rodriguez, Jason Varitek.
Oh, that's a good
Fantastic.
one. I remember that.
George Bell, Aaron Seeley, and Mo Vaughn. That's an old school one.
That was an old school one, yeah.
But the one that I remember is Pedro Martinez and the coach from the Yankees. Remember that?
Yeah, he threw him down. Art.
And then that coach, I forget his name, from the Yankees.
He started crying.
He's crying during a press
family.
conference. Yeah.
Well, why run after somebody?
Your family's not in pain. Didn't get knocked out by Pedro Martinez.
But why are you running after him anyway?
Yeah.
Whatever.
But maybe the best, most memorable one was Ozzy Bautista getting smacked in the face.
Oh yeah.
Remember
by
that?
Elvis Andrews.
Yes. That was just a straight shot.
Cracked him hard.
Straight
that was a
shot.
nice one, yeah.
And the sunglasses went flying.
And then there's Bryce Harper Rolodex.
Yeah.
Also, sorry.
When you can't get an RBI, you start a fight.
I know this is supposed to be rapid, but let's not forget Nolan Ryan holding Robin Ventura in a headlock.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
I was listening.
Active listening, not your strong suit.
It's Rugnet Odor, by the way.
Exactly.
And,
okay, there we go.
All right, next topic.
the next topic is
Rapid fire. Not so rapid.
Slow fire.
Rapid.
Slow burn.
Aaron Rodgers versus Mike McCarthy, chapter number 2.
So, so Aaron Rodgers said that he played with an injury, a broken leg, all year. Do you believe it?
I know he wasn't right. It's obvious. Like if you watch the games, he wasn't right. I mean, look, a broken leg can mean a lot of things. It doesn't mean his leg was dangling off.
No, it was a fracture.
It was a fracture.
It was a tibial plateau.
Yeah,
and an MCL sprain.
I feel like he's a guy who speaks his mind, and because of that, people are like he's selfish. But like selfish people don't put their health at risk.
It's also his body language.
Yeah,
he's an ultimate competitor.
Yes.
Should Mike McCarthy have benched him?
No, because Mike McCarthy should have quit because he's a terrible head coach.
Okay.
He's an incompetent head coach.
Different situation.
Aaron Rodgers did come out recently in response to the Bleacher Report article and called it a whole lot of hogwash.
Hogwash.
Yeah, like
you sure that wasn't Andrew Luck in disguise? Because that sounds more like Andrew Luck's terminology.
I added that word just for a little flair. Next up, NHL lottery. Lose for Hughes.
So
Jack Hughes?
Jack Hughes. So the NHL had their draft lottery this week. New Jersey Devils are getting the first overall pick. Essentially, they probably will be drafting Jack Hughes, the phenom American. At the beginning of the year, everybody was saying lose for Hughes. Who's going to get the first overall pick? And it ended up falling to the New Jersey Devils. You assume that they're going to want to put some butts in the seats because they don't really fill up. So they'll probably take Jack Hughes.
Great player. How quick do you think we'll see him in the
right away?
Right away. Well, he's amazing.
His brother played this year for Vancouver.
I was going to say, right, that's his brother that plays for
Vancouver.
Wow.
He only played like the one game, but him, Elias Pettersson, and Baser, they were on a 3-on-3 overtime, and it was like shinny hockey, man. It was crazy. They were just as if they were saucering, as if they played with each other for 25 years. It's going to be fun in Vancouver in a few years for sure.
Saucering, the same or different from docking?
I don't know.
All right.
I'm on it. Next up, Texas Rangers celebrate by grabbing each other's dicks.
You send me this. Yeah,
that's saucering.
Sure, let's call it that.
So when you hit a home run, what is your first thing you do when you see your teammate?
Grab his dick. Obviously.
Okay, yeah,
I mean, it's pretty clear. Like, so in Texas, there's a lot of cool things about Texas. Giant ass steaks.
Yes.
There was Cowboys.
Lots of strip clubs.
Is that true?
Great barbecue.
You may or may not grab your own dick.
Yeah, and you'll grab your teammate's dick.
So all I've gotten from everything we saw about Texas is meat, right? So the thing is, let's face it,
cock meat sandwich.
They just love the meat out there.
But
isn't that different from like spanking a kid's ass when you're coaching them back in the day? Like I coached and I found it the weirdest thing. Like I've never been compelled to spank another player.
I'm also somebody who appreciates a good piece, and I'm not grabbing anybody else's piece.
I hate to be Mr. Details, but technically they were just grabbing a jocks. They were grabbing dicks.
Yeah,
but
there's a piece of
gesture.
material. Yes, but
the jock makes it friendship and not sexual.
Exactly.
Headline was a lie, and I hate liars. Next up,
didn't we run that headline on Hot Sauce?
Didn't you send it to us?
Yeah. Wasn't it posted on our Facebook page by you?
Yeah. But I'm a liar, so I hate myself. That's it for rapid fire, boys.
All right, it was the slowest burn. That brings us to hot bets.
Yeah. So
Eagle, do you have something to say? Did you get candy out of your mouth?
Hot sauce bets. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's the thing.
Pokemon
All
bets.
you do is listen to me
Pokemon.
finish speaking. Sometimes I hate you.
I'm going to be giving you guys four matchups in NHL to choose from.
Yeah.
I am not going to be giving you the Penguins and the Islanders one because that one's going to break my heart, and we all know who's going to win that one. So, and it's not going to be the Penguins. But let's start off with Toronto against Boston. This series kicks off tomorrow.
This is the most fun series in my opinion.
Are they just picking the winner or in how many games?
They're choosing the series winner, Eagle. So this is going to be a slow burn. We're going to find out who's going to lose his bet in about a week and a half from now.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks from now.
To me, this is the most interesting series there is.
Yeah? You find?
Absolutely. Boston turned it on second half of the season. Toronto's been a compelling story from even before the season
started.
And a train
wreck. An utter train wreck.
We'll see.
Very inconsistent Toronto.
So you're choosing Toronto?
I'm going to go with Toronto. I think
I'm going Boston.
I think this will be fun.
And you know what?
Are you picking a sweep or are you picking 5?
I mean, sweep is clearly 5 games.
Yeah.
Right?
So
I'm
I'm
going to say 6, and I assume that Toronto's going to win 2 at home. That's it.
Next up, Vegas, San Jose.
That's a tough one because
This is a rematch from last year's conference finals. Isn't it?
Yeah. No. Yeah, it is. No, it's not.
Isn't it?
Did San Jose make the Stanley Cup Finals?
No,
They did
no
not.
idea who lost.
not the Stanley Cup finals. The
I know, but did they? Because Vegas didn't make the Stanley
that's
Cup
true.
Finals. So I'm gonna go San Jose either way.
They made the Stanley
Yeah,
Cup.
they
Vegas made the
did.
Stanley Cup Finals. Who did they lose to?
I'm on it.
Get off my shark, bro.
Who won last year?
Washington.
Washington.
Yeah.
Immoral.
Against
You
the
are
Sharks.
very right. I always forget the
It
loser.
was the Cinderella story.
Yeah, it's true.
Inaugural season, they bring in Fleury, brings them to the cup,
I
and then they
remember.
get destroyed by Ovechkin.
Yeah. If Cinderella ended with a Russian guy getting hammered for 3 straight months,
I'm gonna go San Jose because I like them to win the Stanley Cup in general.
I'm gonna say San Jose too. I'm
Yeah.
gonna agree. I'm
I'm gonna say
Washington,
7
Carolina.
games.
Washington, Carolina.
That's a
one's a
tough
lot
one because
tougher.
Carolina is one of those teams where they're tough and
They're surging.
They're tough to play with. They're
Oh,
tough
that's
to play against.
That's
They
good
have-
hockey talk.
Yeah,
Tough.
tough
They're
to play
gritty.
against.
They go to the corners.
They grip their sticks tight.
Yeah.
They want.
I also grip my stick tight.
They shoot to get the pucks on net.
Yeah.
You can't.
One
But if
shift
you,
at a time. They have a
I
good
noticed
locker
that
room.
if you do grapple your stick too tight,
You don't grapple your stick.
you get like weird cuts on your dick.
Heyo. So I am going with Washington.
I'm gonna have to agree. It's sad, but I have to agree.
Washington in.
Ovi
sequ-
keeps it
in-
going.
in
And then there's
five.
I have no idea what cream to put on after. It's so weird.
Washington.
Next up, Colorado, Calgary. This is the last one.
Calgary seems just so blah. You know what I mean? Like, it just.
They do? They seem blah to you?
Not to me.
I don't. So I don't enjoy
It's
watching.
the, it's the
Calgary.
Colorado-
jersey. You don't like the jersey.
Colorado's
No, I
top
don't-
heavy.
I
No,
haven't-
their jerseys are terrible.
I haven't enjoyed watching Calgary all season.
I hate the assistant captain with the flame.
Yeah, that's dumb.
It's fucking
That's
ugly,
dumb.
man.
I can't catch a single Calgary game because it's always fucking blacked out.
Yes,
It's
also
crazy.
It's okay. You're not missing much. So I'm gonna go Colorado.
I'm gonna go Calgary because
Calgary.
Colorado's top heavy, one line. The rest of the line.
That's all they need, bro. One line.
Not really. Where Calgary is across the board. Marjordano is probably one of the best defensemen in the league.
absolutely.
He's gonna shut it down, and Johnny Ham and Cheese is gonna go nuts.
And those are the hot sauce bets. So
Well,
we will-
I got a counter bet for you.
Who's keeping track of these?
I got a counter bet for you. I said I had a counter bet.
No, just keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Tonight, you have the only matchup that even matters. Because in our Madden League, Terry is facing me.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my ass
Madden.
kicked.
So,
Bunch of
who are you
fucking nerds.
picking? You got hot sauce on the line.
I'm gonna pick hot sauce.
I got
So-
Joey Taylor as my quarterback.
Okay, wow.
First overall pick.
What are
He's
your
a made-up-
actual?
he's-
What are
he's-
your actual teams?
They're drafted
Forget
teams,
it. Just-
and it's the second season with drafts.
And Terry, how have you ever played Madden before?
Yeah, I'm a huge Madden player, but my team is shit.
Your team is shit. Peace out. Your team.
Because I tanked my entire season last year, so I can get the first
Okay,
overall.
wait. Sorry, this is the last question I'm gonna ask. What's the name of your quarterback?
pick. Joey Taylor.
And you?
Josh Allen.
All right, I'm picking Terry.
I got first overall pick.
And you can't nuke on purpose just to make him lose.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, of course I wouldn't do that.
And who's your pick? Hot sauce.
Peace.
Yeah, so Eagle did
pick.
well because I went 16-0 last season.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
and
I'm
I
4-0
went.
this season.
I simmed most of my games, but I think I went like 2-14.
2 and whatever. The balance. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, boys. Thank you, Savage Paulson, for joining us. This has been Hot Sauce Sports.